evening. It's cool from my end because it drizzled a bit. I'm just speaking and welcoming everyone. We'll kick off at exactly 7:30. That should be a minute from now. So in exactly 7:30, myself and Abdul Hamid will be taking you on our usual 30 minutes journey. I'm sure Abdul Hamid is ready for us. Me, myself, I'm ready. I'm ever ready, on standby. So yeah. Okay, it's 7:30 on the dot. Once again, thank you so much for joining. This is another of our Kaizen review sessions. And it started, I think our current journey started last week, Saturday, when we had the intro session for our current book, Attitude is Everything. So we had started with How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We had completed that, and then we started Attitude is Everything last week. We had Muradeyo give us that review. And today, we'll be having a very astute and esteemed brother, Abdul Hamid Papatunde, to run us through the first part of Attitude is Everything. Abdul Hamid, just confirm if you can hear us and you're with us here.
Yeah, good evening. I can hear you.
Fantastic, fantastic. So thank you so much for joining. In due time, I'll just hand over the mic to you so you can run us through, and then we'll take our usual way of, after your review and your comments, we'll take comments from everyone, and then hopefully by then we should still be in time to have one or two conversations from Kazim or anybody else before we wrap up. So not to waste much of our time, Abdul Hamid, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hello, can everyone hear me? Oh, yeah. Hello, confirm if you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you, Abdul Hamid. We can also see you clearly.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, so good evening once again, everyone. And so it's nice, being in this session again for today. So, and I would just be giving my own brief review of the first part of this book. So it's a really cool book, and very helpful and all. So the first part starts with by saying success begins in the mind. So essentially what I understand about this part, or why I see to this part, is whatever you become or whatever you want to become or you want to be, it's solely dependent on your state of mind. So if you feel like you can't be successful, then you can never be successful, even if you are the most intelligent person on earth. So then, the author started also, or continued by, explaining to us that attitude is the window to the world. Essentially what he's trying to say in this part is your attitude determines or, crystallizes whoever you are or whoever you want to be or whoever you would be. So and he gave a kind of scenario of a particular guy, Sam and Sarah, whereby both of them are hungry. They went to a particular restaurant, the same restaurant, they spent the same amount of time to wait for the food, to make their order and all. But their attitude were very different. Sarah was, full with energy and exaggerate, but then Sam was very frustrated and all, perhaps maybe because of his work. But then even after eating the meal, he won't still be able to enjoy himself because he had a bad attitude. So because essentially your attitude is what determines even your state of mind. Yeah. So either you work with a toxic boss or whatever, is is relative to the kind of attitude you have. And yeah, the kind of attitude you have determines, whatever. Now, so then there are some few comments here, or some few, key what we call quotes here. So the first one is, when the author was explaining about attitude, he said a person with a negative attitude thinks I can't. A person with the positive attitude would think, he can do anything. And I think that's just the fact. So he gave a lot of, he mentioned some other ones, but I think the major two things there I can pick out from it is, if you have a negative mindset or negative attitude about something, then you can never be successful. If you have a positive mindset, you would reach, wherever you want to be. So he also mentioned, he also gave a kind of scenario of an infant, whereby you start with a clean mental window. That's like your entire being. So he mentioned about a kid whereby the kid is trying to learn how to walk. So even after committing a lot of errors, falling down, having some cuts in the body and all, the kid will still be motivated and energized to still want to keep trying till he's able to walk perfectly. But then he doesn't, a kid will never give up, or he's never even going to complain about maybe his father or mother trying to force him to do something. So that is just how it is. Because at that point, you are clear of, like, your mental window is clear based on what the author is trying to explain. He said your attitude should be like your window. So it is where you see the world. If you have a dirty window, then obviously you won't have a good what's it called, a good output. And if you have a clear window, you'll be able to see clearly also. So because then he also mentioned that, fine, as an infant you might not have challenges or whatever, but then, so these challenges just looks like let me say dates. So you have a lot of dates that comes to your window, so you just have to flush them off. So you mentioned about sometimes you would want to lose energy, be demotivated, have negative attitude based on criticism from your friends, your parents, some ridiculous expectations, also rejections, disappointments. But obviously these things are fine to have. So you just have to change yourself. So essentially. So, and one thing about this attitude is no one is going to change it for you. So you just have to change it yourself. So one of the comments of William Shakespeare said, "There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." So which is similar to what I said earlier, about, for instance, people saying a particular boss is toxic or something is hard to do and all. So it's essentially based on the subject. So because you see things relative to your attitude. If you have a good attitude, you might feel like, oh, something very hard is very simple. And I think I have some few live scenarios I would also like to share. So that is just, you just have to keep your attitude positive. So because no one is going to do that for you, you just have to do it yourself. So there's another comment here, or another quote here saying, a happy person is not a person in a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. So that is just the fact, because if you have your attitude just determines who you are. So you have a bad attitude, then you be a bad person. You have a good attitude, you be a good person. Even if things looks like, no matter how difficult anything could be. So your attitude is just, let me say, your attitude is the tool to overcome anything in life, essentially. So the author is also trying to relate attitude and success together. And I think I can also relate very well to this part, because your attitude, and like, for you to be successful in life, you just have to have a good attitude. Big people, or a lot of people would try to compare themselves with some other, successful people in world or on earth. So, but it's not like maybe you just wake up one day and you become a successful person. It depends on your attitude. So even for the attitude, you need to practice some set of, consistent disciplines. So for instance, someone being a genius, like Albert Einstein or whatever, it's not like maybe a genius won't read. So he also has to read. You have to read, you have to practice, you have to make errors, you have to fail. So, but you don't now, failure is one of those dates the Jeff is trying to refer to as some of the dates that will come to your window. If you can't just change your attitude based on a particular failure. So you just have to clean it off, then keep vibing on. So I think that is essentially the review I have. So, but coming back to some of the real life scenarios, I would like to also mention is, I think recently it should be, it's not up to a month. I was speaking with a religious scholar. So the man told me that forget prayer, forget God or whatever. Just just have good attitudes and discipline. He said you would be successful. You don't need any prayer. Like, not like you don't need any prayer, but if you can keep a good attitude, you have good attitude, you have good disciplines, then there's nothing stopping you from being whoever you want to become. So I think another one I would also like to share, which is like a life scenario or a personal experience, is when I was about to enter the university. I finished from FUTA, right? Then, so yeah, I actually did A levels. So I passed my A levels. So I was about to resume for Tron level. So there was a particular man who is like a father to me, was telling me to make sure to graduate with a first class and all. I could remember the day. The day was telling me to graduate with a first class. I was like, me first class, I can never graduate with a first class. So then I was like, third class 2 is not bad. I got to FUTA, I started my training level. Then I don't even attend classes. So, my first results came out and it was very poor. Second semester started. So there was a particular course we were doing then. They call it strength of materials. So they gave the entire engineering faculty a particular assignment. No one was able to solve that particular example. That was when something just came to my mind and I was like, okay, all these guys are solving this thing. It's not like maybe they have magics or they have to learn it also. Then I decided to learn that stuff. Like I decided to read about that stuff myself. So, and I was able to solve the question for the entire engineering faculty then. Since then, that was when I discovered that, oh, so it's not like I can't even graduate a first class, but I just had a wrong mindset and a bad attitude. Ever since then, I changed that particular mindset. There is no semester in FUTA I spent. I never had less than a first class for every semester until I graduated. So that is just one. So we just have to, develop a good and positive attitude, because that is what, determines who you are going to be and who you become. So I think I've been able to do few justice to, to this first part of the book. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Just wow. That was amazing, actually. That was very, very amazing. Anyway, I greet you. First class.
No,
Wow, that
I
was
didn't actually graduate with first class.
that was awesome. That was awesome. It's really, so I think that this particular part of the book is really one that speaks to everybody, because everybody has experiences that they can share. I'm sure if we throw open the mic now for comments, which we will do very soon, we'll get a lot of people narrating different kind of experiences and how their attitude was able to come in, how they were able to show good and positive attitude. But before I let everyone start to contribute. Just want to say a thing or two. It still reflects back to what you're saying, right? Jeff Keller, I think he mentioned window in that book, if not close to 10 times. Any single page, I know every single page had something like window, window, window. And I kept saying, what's it with this window that this man is saying, window, what's it? So I had to really understand the perspective of a window to a building. And the realization of that, when I thought about it, just blew my mind. First of all, window is where you receive sunlight. So if you have a building without a window, first of all, there's darkness. So that even puts you in a very dark place. If it's a mindset, you speak with some people and you say this person is a very dark place, it means that person does not have a window. And the attitude is like that window that you use to receive sunlight to your life, right? You see with it, you have this ray of direction. When you have a good attitude, you receive sunlight. And that's one very key thing that I took out. When I thought about window again, I said, what else comes through the window? Cool breeze, air, ventilation, oxygen. Like, correct. This man actually knows what he's saying when he's saying window. Because first of all, you'll be so stuffed up, you'll almost be suffocating if there's no window. I know some people, well, let me put this as hypothetical, but I know some very small houses in very specific places in Lagos where they will build the house finish and they will barely put any window. And when you stay inside for 2 minutes, you're almost dripping of sweat. And it's like, your attitude should be like that. It should be a well-cleaned, ventilated window that you can receive cool, fresh air to use to, help your body to function well, the oxygen that comes in. Of course, you can now see through the window, you can see the world, you can see the blue skies, children playing in your environment. It just makes you, it's like a portal, right? If you have a good attitude, it just opens up another area of the world where you can draw strength, where you can draw direction, where you can draw ventilation, where you can draw oxygen, where you can draw a lot of other things. You can see new ideas, you can view the world from different perspectives. So having a positive attitude just helps you, build, it's like helping you to have that basic, standard, strong, solid foundation where when you come out, anything you go after, right, it's just bound to be with a positive mindset. And when you go after something with a positive mindset, there's more probability that you're going to achieve it, that you're going to attain it, that you're going to get to that level. So I think the charge is even clear, everybody. Just make sure that your window is clean, that your window is clear, and that every morning when you wake up, the first thing you open is your window. When I mean your window, both your building window and the window to your life, yourself, right? Make sure that there are no depressive thoughts, there are no dark thoughts, there are no negative thoughts. Just wake up feeling brand new, feeling aerated, feeling ventilated, and feeling ready to smile and bring out some positivity to the world. So yeah, on this note, I think we'll start taking everyone's comments, questions, conversations. I'm not sure if I can see all of the hands, but if anyone can, they can maybe go ahead, contribute from their own perspective. I have an experience this week alone for this part. In fact, I thought is this week that I now chose attitude that this thing now happened to me. But yeah, I see Ishak's hand up. Ishak, please go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I would love to come in from this area talking about attitude. So he mentioned that attitude is a kind of something that gives you a way of navigating through the world. So, and that is the positive aspect of attitude. So I want to share just one experience. So when I was in school, so it was actually a view of struggling to meet up with first class. I was in 2-1. So, and at the same time, I was interested in becoming the student union president. So, but at the end, I want to come from the negative aspect. So, at the end, I was unable to achieve both. Why? Reason being, during the course of struggling for those two, I I let some I let something what's it called important slip away from me, and that is the aspect of attitude. So I didn't plan on how I will be able to achieve the two. So at the end of the student union election, at the end of the campaign, which is very close to the exam, so I decided to focus on the campaign, and I left the aspect of reading to some extent, which is not common. So at the long run, I that semester actually decided what I will end up with when it comes to academics. Then the aspect of student union election. So some kind of mago also happened. So then what I see in this aspect is the fact that I was unable to balance the two. So I didn't put up the right attitude to balance the two aspects. So I think on that I don't want to talk much because of time. So while I was reading that particular book, the last part and the one we are discussing about, so I get to learn a whole lot of things. How attitude is very, very important to success. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for that. While Moses is trying to unmute, I just want to also share a few thoughts from my end. First and foremost, is thank Moses and Abdulhamid for that fantastic review. And in fact, the insight that both of them introduced into it, particularly from their aspect of Abdulhamid showing us how it changed his attitude and then getting better grades in school was profound. And the analysis of Moses around the window, the concept of window as projected by Jeff also was deep insight. And that's when you know the ethicals, you really appreciate them, honestly. Moses is also a first-class graduate from the West of Ibadan. So anytime he talks, you see that level of art in what he's presenting. So I really want to appreciate both of you for that good review. But just three comments from my end is the purity of attitude, and he tried to project it how a baby is trying to learn to walk, right? The negativity and the side comments will not deter the child from actually walking. But for both of us today, our windows have been blurred out, right? Our windows have been corrupted to the extent that you think, can I really do this? Can I really try this out, right? So what he's trying to tell us here is the window, the way you see the world, is how much you're able to purify your view, your attitude, and manage it. That is really number one comment I want to make. Second one is you are responsible for this attitude. Nobody's going to help you. Abdulhamid said it. It is your call. Right on this call now, Moses is a colleague, and he said that this week he got his, or we got our Shege Pro Max from one of our partners. But honestly, our attitudes were very positive, honestly. And at the end of the day, we don't know how it will end, but it's making a lot of sense to us to say that, oh, okay, we cannot control the reaction of the next person, but we should be able to manage how things will work out for us. So we are responsible for managing our own attitude. And also what I want to say is you can also not control the next person. Look at, what's the name of that? I think is Sam and another guy. Sam is the guy. I think is this Sandal, or what's the name of that other lady that Jeff cited at the beginning of the book? Let me quickly call it out. Yeah, Sarah and Sam. You see that Sarah could not control how quick or urgent the waiter will attend to her. The same thing as Samuel, right? But both of them, they were served almost the same time. The same Nigeria, we're all going through the same Nigeria. The Shego Promas, Emilocon economics, everything is hitting everybody. But the truth is, while it's hitting everybody, some people are still buying cars. They are still building houses. They are still getting jobs. So why not think about the world in that light to say, oh, my window to Nigeria will no longer be just crying and complaining, rather taking responsibility as to how I will react to the world. And that will likely give you some level of succor and solace. So what we're actually emphasizing here is we do not have control over so many things. You don't have control over inflation. You don't have control over how much they'll sell a liter of fuel. But you indeed have control over your attitude to the reaction, how you react to all these changes. And that is what Jeff is saying. And also to just, that will be my last comment, would be to put the context that Abdulhamid painted, saying that one scholar told him, leave prayer. I'm not sure Abdulhamid is saying prayer is not important. Prayer is important. What he's just saying is that even if you have all the prayers in the world, and you have a negative attitude, and your window is so dirty to the world and to how you react to your realities, you will still not be progressive. Whereas if you have the right attitude will take you back to God. It will take you back to pray. It will take you back to handling situations with reality and calmness, which is also part of prayers and the principles that religion has taught us. So what I'm just trying to say is that don't let us take it out from this session that they said that we don't need God, we don't need anything. The only thing we need is attitude. No, that's not what Abdulhamid is saying. Just to put it in the right context. Over to you, Moses. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Kazim, for that fantastic summary / analysis. It was impeccable. I don't know if there are still any further contributions. We have like 3-4 minutes left. You can take one or two short and sharp, in Kazim's words, short and sharp. You can take one or two more comments. Then we go. You can unmute and just contribute.
Just raise your hand and then we allow you to unmute your mic. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any hands. So I just want to charge everyone, right? There's always something to dim our window, or, the world just has a way of it. The book says, as a child, you come with a blank slate, or you come with, come with an open mind. But as you grow old, the criticisms, the disappointments, the peer pressure. Oh, I see Ali's hand is up. Okay, Ali, please, just 2 minutes, please, Ali. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening. All protocols duly observed. I think it's still the window analogy that I'm going to also stress upon, because it tells us a lot of things and it makes us see things in a very good context, right? You cannot control everything that comes to you. In fact, the probability of you controlling things that comes to you is very, 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 very low compared to what you can do to change the situation. I mean, seeing things from a perspective will always would be what we can do, and how do we ensure that we see things from the right perspective, and that's where the attitude comes in. Like Kazim had mentioned, there will be a lot of issues around the reality of your situation, around Nigeria, around everything that coming through. But you cannot really say what you can't change things by yourself. But what you can do is to ensure that you have the right mindset to receive those things and make sure that your window is clean enough to see the right things in front of you, so that you can make the right steps to turn things around. My own contribution is just around that same window analogy, that if we have the right attitude, it will help us clean the window to which we see the world. And every time things come around, we always see the most important things in front of us and not the noises around. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Honestly, absolutely spot on. So thank you so much, everyone. Ensure to have a positive attitude this week. We're still continuing next week. I think this is the first of 12 parts. So next week we'll have the second part of this. There's the second of 12 parts, right? So I'll see everyone again next week. We are 7:59. So ensure to have the right attitude. Ensure to always see positivity in everything. Even when challenges come, get your mind straight, get things right. Always look at the positivity to life and know that it is your responsibility and yours alone to get yourself back to the right track. So cheers and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Moses. Thank you, Abdulhamid. Thank you, all our contributors. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our group if you are not a member. Thank you. Have a lovely night. Bye.